What's up, guys? This is DoubleKOradio, and this is my Kyoshiro guide. First things up, the close standing light, crouching light, and far light in his neutral are all special cancelable. Unfortunately, they do not combo, as you can see here. So what I use it for, usually in neutral, is to try and whiff this button, whiff into a special, or whiff into like a whiffed attack from the enemy, that is. Whiff into a whiff, and then I punish with a medium or a crouching medium, or since it is special cancelable, try and bait out a jump and then try and anti-air them that way. Far standing jab is a good poke. Comes up pretty fast, recovers pretty fast, and also it looks a lot like your standing medium, which is the poke you want to hit, but you can whiff that and lead into the other one just to kind of also bait out any kind of reflex. You could poke this out there before actually poking out the far standing medium, since they look so similar. Far crouching medium slash is pretty much your best poke. It has a little bit of startup, so be careful on doing it too much, because then people will jump in on you and you're gonna have to try and DP out of it. But yeah, it's not deflectable. It's not something that anybody can weapon catch, so that's what makes it so good. It's from a really far distance. So in general, I keep hearing that Kyoshiro's a zoner. I wouldn't really classify him as one. He, depending on how far your enemy's weapon really reaches, that's where Kyoshiro is going to want to be, right outside of that range, so that he can counter poke them or challenge them with his own. He can pretty much challenge most of the cast with his own medium pokes. So that's mainly where you're going to want to be with Kyoshiro. Standing heavy is pretty standard, good range, bad startup. Most standing heavies are like that in the game. The thing that I would say that sets it apart is the angle that it comes out in. Usually people try to use the lion tail in a way for a far jumping anti-air punish, but this standing hard slash and the lion tail are pretty similar in how punishable they are. They can both be punished, or they can trade, but the difference with the hard slash is that the recovery isn't as bad. As you can see there, like if that were to be misspaced as well, if that were to be misspaced, that you'll have less time of recovering from this move, as opposed to the lion tail that just leaves you kind of up there and suspended for an extra couple seconds. Next up, guys, is his dash medium slash. So you should know that depending on the character, Kyoshiro will whiff over their head if you don't space it right. This is also punishable on block if you miss it, but let me give you an example right here. As you can see here, if you space it wrong, it goes right over the head and you can get punished hard for it, so be careful with that. Another good tool you're going to want to use with Kyoshiro is his surprise attack, the universal overhead. Has a lot of range. They catch people off guard because it's from a little farther back than most overheads in the game. So definitely use that to mix in with the heavies. I mean the other mediums. Also with this surprise attack, Kyoshiro moves a little forward in it. So if you're using it to get over projectiles, you can close in distance as well until you get to your opponent. Alright, guys, last bit I want to do on the notable normals is his crouching heavy slash. So you can see here, completely whiffs any crouching opponents. It's unfortunate, but at least it's a very useful anti-air. It's a deceptively probably his best anti-air. Like, nobody really has spoken about it as an anti-air, but it's the quickest thing that can come out if you're especially paired up against characters that jump at a really low angle and come down pretty fast, like Charlotte or Darlie Dagger, anything like that. It gets a little bit harder to maybe even try to do this one or this one as an anti-air. Your best bet is to just down H. As soon as you see the feet hit, get off the ground, you're pressing that button and catching them as high as you can. Or else it's a little difficult because you see how much of a pain in the ass it is for Kyoshiro to deal with that. It has to be instantaneously or you get hit just like that. And that is it for his crouching Heart Slash. So let's go move on to his special moves. One unique move Kyoshiro has is he can crouch walk forward and crouch walk backwards. I don't see much use in this because the walk speed that he has is around the same from his crouching. And usually if you're crouching forward, especially online, it might mess you up from moving your directional pad from forward to back to block right away. One of the problems Kyoshiro could have too is like when you're blocking in front of an enemy and you're pressing down back and you're there to be able to punish them with a combo, sometimes it can actually move you slightly away from where it combos and you start and you hit the far crouching medium instead, and that kind of messes up your combo. One situation I want to show you guys too that's a little uncomfortable for Kyoshiro mains against the Rei matchup itself is when she pulls out a trap and that trap is behind you. You're blocking and you kind of walk into it, you know. So you gotta be mindful that okay, there's a trap there. I can't move backwards, but then she's still throwing projectiles in front of you. So it's a tool that I think needs a little bit of adjustment, but that's just my opinion. Now we're gonna go into Kyoshiro's Tsunami Crunch. It's projectile. These are all three versions. They all do the same amount of damage, 60 damage each one. The only difference is the speed. The hard goes fast. The hard one goes fast at your opponent, and the medium goes a little slower. These are the ones I would alternate from afar. If I'm any closer, like at this range, I would always go for the light because you can recover from it a lot faster. So, you know, if you got a projectile coming at you from the bottom, people are gonna tend to want to jump, and this way it's easier for Kyoshiro to cancel into DP punish. The only thing is that I would change up when it comes to being full screen with reflect characters is trying to use the light one a little bit more, since it's easy to cancel out of it faster. Like the recovery of it is a little faster. It's easier to be able to throw out another one to cancel the reflected projectile. Kyoshiro's Dance of Fire move is one of the moves you're probably going to try and stay away from the most out of his kit. One of the most punishable moves other than his Toad Plague. For the most part, it's kind of useless because it can work as an anti-air, but you have better anti-airs. It can be one of the tools Kyoshiro used to chip out, but you have better tools to chip out. The only thing I would say is when you're disarmed, it becomes your anti-air, essentially. Doesn't mean that it works. Doesn't mean that it works 100% like an anti-air would want it to, but as you can see there, sometimes Kyoshiro during that turn, he gets kind of invincible, almost like he's in another dimension. But it doesn't work all the time. It's hit or miss. It's not something you should try really to bank on. You see there it has a weird trade, and I actually took damage from that. It's a really strange move. I'll show you another way that the hitbox of this Dance of Fire is really weird. So this has happened a couple times to me online where I miss my input, accidentally go for the Dance of Fire, and somebody tries to punish me from behind. Now sometimes it works like that, but sometimes, you know, you get a weird trade there. So again, not a strategy that you should bank on, because there's way more ways to punish it, and that's just one of the ways that sometimes it might mess up your opponent. Lion Tail Blast, another move that's very unsafe for Kyoshiro. There's that move right there. This is the medium, and this is the heavy. Usually the light version of this I use to punish any people that I think are going to run up and grab me in neutral. So online people are pretty unfamiliar with this character as opposed to other characters, and for right now you can use it to try and bait them to be impatient and try to press a button before the animation stops. You see how much longer medium was than the light? Same thing goes for the flame right there. People online have a tendency to press a button before the animation fully stops, not knowing that they're gonna have plenty of time to punish that move when the fire is gone from the move. So you could get lucky and get people pressing a button before they should when it comes to that move. But yeah, I would alternate when you're trying to chip out. It should be like when they got like maybe like 10% left. You should try to chip out with this move, and you should try to alternate the light and the medium version with it on block. What I forgot to mention about the flame dance too, if it has a lot of hit stuns, so for the light and the medium versions, if you're at a safe enough distance, you can only get really punished by a light or a medium if the opponent is fast enough. This is also a good option for immediate projectile on wake up in certain cases. Other than your weapon flip technique, the heavy version is going to be what you're going to want to chip out with at the end of the round. So you see there, look how much life Homaru not really lost but got chipped for. It's about the equivalent to a heavy, almost the equivalent of a heavy, like between a heavy and a medium. So definitely when the opponent is at around 20% and you got rage, that's your best option to chip out with. With the Raging Lion's Tail Blast, the heavy version as well, it's not advisable to me from me to use this move as an anti-projectile punish, because the startup you kind of have to preemptively see where it's at, preemptively see that a person is going for a projectile, and then if you can, as you can see there, the total damage from afar was 122. If you whiff that, you get a much higher punish, because look at your recovery. You're gonna get hit with something really hard, and all you're getting is a measly 122. The damage really comes from when you do it up close and personal. That doubles the damage to 240. Twisting Heavens is his DP. Covers a lot of air control. It's his light, medium, and his heavy. Has a lot of recovery on it. As you can see, his head spinning around. Usually you're gonna want to use this in combos if you're in the corner and you want to get out to position yourself better. I'm going to show you some examples on how this takes away a couple of options from certain characters in the air. Right now we're going to go into the Smoldering Blood Pounce, which is this guy right here with the very, very bad recovery. But this is actually one of Kyoshiro's better moves because on what job it needs to do, it does it well. I would say this is one of the best moves for any air-to-air trades in the game. So most of the time you are in the air as Kyoshiro and you get challenged up there, it's gonna win. Let's say you happen to be in a position where you're jumping over your opponent and they're whiffing a normal. There you can punish them. They can't punish you even with that recovery. Those are the two main ways you would use this move, and it would be safe to use it, meeting somebody in the air for A to air, or crossing them up as they are hitting a button. Another way you can use this move is to backdash air cancel into it. I personally would steer away from using this. The only way I would say you should use it is sometimes in the corner to try and beat out a move. But with that, it's still pretty risky using that because it's not like it's fully invulnerable. It's not like projectiles can't hit you out of it. So just try not to. It looks nice, it's pretty cool, but try not to use it in general. There's only one real use I've found from it that makes sense, and I'll show you right now. On to his next move, Toad Plague. So Toad Plague is, and this is hard for me too not to do, guys, but listen to me here. You do not do this move. You do not do this move. This guy right here, really freaking cool, right? It's a big ass frog. Eat up your opponent. It hits low. What it's used for is for whatever H can't reach, Toad can, right in front of it. The only problem with it is it's his most unsafe move in his kit. If you whiff Toad, you die. All this whole time you see him, like let's say if Genjiro decides to block the Toad and he's right there, all that time you're trying to recover, and you can get hit with a SSM or a weapon flip really easy, or even get jumped in on and comboed. You know, it's a very risky move compared to how much damage you're actually getting for the move. So there's one very specific way I would use this move, and that's when your enemy happens to whiff a very long animation on one of their specials that they can't come out of. I wouldn't even do this on any normals because, you know, people can pretty much block right after one of their normals, or it'll catch you by surprise on how fast they block. But it would be a special like that, and I'm gonna give you a couple examples of what I mean in case you don't understand. He has the second highest rage build in the game. So what you're gonna wanna use your E-Sen or your burst, of course, to save your ass, but for the most part you're gonna want to try and keep rage as much as possible. When it comes to his weapon flip technique, he's gonna want to hit it off of frustration on the neutral, right? So as soon as you're trying to bait your enemy or your opponent to try and jump, and that's when you anti-air them with this. You can also catch from certain angles a back jump, which is good with his weapon flip technique. So if you're forced to grab, into weapon flip technique. One of the strategies I would have is to back grab them into weapon flip into the center of the stage, no matter what side you're in. Then as soon as they recover, you do your heavy DP, and now they have to deal with their weapon being off screen. Last thing about Kyoshiro's weapon flip technique is that if your opponent is at dangerously low health, like he is right there at the top of the screen, you are in a very good position because you don't really have to worry about landing a hit. You just have to worry about landing the block, and you can chip him out for the kill. So his SSM is very short range. It's a regular hit, standard startup, but it can actually hit people out of the air. So that's good. Alright, let's close this out, guys, with Kyoshiro's bread and butter combos in the game. So for low hits on block, you want to go crouching medium to light lion's tail. If they come at you with a standing move, though, you're going to want to do crouching medium to one of the DPs, and you use the heavy DP to get you out of the corner whenever you can. Your big go-to would be the back throw into standing hard slash. That's the one that will get you the most damage. You got two options off of a forward throw for damage, and the easy one will be one that's a little bit harder to try to land is forward grab to dash hard slash. It does the same amount of damage, but maybe you don't want to lose your advantage off of all the recovery that the hard slash needs you to do. Alpha jumping, you're mainly going to get medium to medium if you go real deep. Higher damage, though, his highest damaging combo would be that right there. You gotta jump in deep with the heavy slash, crouching medium, that's from up close, and then the light lion's tail. This one, honestly, I try to stay away from because any little bit of extra pushback that your H might get, you see how far he gets pushed back, might have this whiff and turn into this move. It happens a lot, actually. It's kind of annoying. So because it's so inconsistent, I usually like to use jumping hard slash into standing hard slash, and it does pretty much the same amount of damage. So because of Kyoshiro's very slow jump, these combos from the air are going to be really hard and rare to be able to catch. It's a little bit easier when it comes to characters that have DP and they whiff, so you're going to kind of have to hope that you get an enemy with a bad read, and that's how you're going to get your combo, if you're willing to risk the timing for the extra damage. Lastly, I'm going to show you guys character specific combo Kyoshiro has. It only works with the biggest bodies of the game. So of course, as you can see here, we have the thickest waifu, and Earthquake and Tam Tam are the ones that can also get hit by this. Now these two combos that I showed you mid-screen only work for those three characters, but they work for everybody in the corner. This is all well and good that it is able to contact in the corner, but when you're in the corner, you already have higher damaging options, so it's almost needless to need to do that anymore. In closing, guys, thanks again for watching my video. Kyoshiro was one of the characters I was really excited for in the beginning. The more and more I played and the more the community tried him out, we got to see how weak he really was. Everything's a gamble. Any special move that you have can really cost you the round if you don't do it correctly. And with characters that can just dash jab safely or jump in with you with a hard H that could cross you up, or do a DP and then right after they do a DP again. Like with characters that I'm sure there is very little reason to pick up this character. If I were to suggest any other character that would be similar to Kyoshiro, I'd probably pick Jubei if you like the projectile, Tam if you like the normals. At the moment he's kind of at the back burner for me. I played him a lot towards the beginning weeks of the from Sham Show's release. Did pretty decent online, had like a 72% win ratio, and now I'm moving on to other characters that are a little stronger right now. Kyoshiro is always going to be there for me, especially if he gets any buffs in the future, but just wanted to give this character kind of a send-off before I move on to other characters and let people know my perspective on the character and what I think is good and bad from him. Thanks again for listening, guys. If you like the video, I'd appreciate any of the usual support you give any YouTubers. Thank you very much for listening and watching, and hopefully this helps you out. Have a good one. Let me know in the comments down below any other questions you would have for Kyoshiro.